So shall we get started here, because I'm about to go to a rant of 3 hours. Still, people are gonna just fall off and say, "Okay, okay, basta, Daniele."
You're going. Wait, you're going to Iran?
A rant
Oh, rant. Okay,
about
I thought you were
about
sitting at the airport
about
heading to Iran. I was
abracadabra.
like, bro, careful.
Yeah, I was about, I was about.
No.
I hope we see you again after that, bro.
Yeah. Well, I had the pleasure of meeting you in person last week in Lisbon, and I got to say, man, you showed me a corner of Lisbon that I never would have otherwise seen. The dinners, oh my goodness, delicious, just absolutely delicious. So, if I didn't say it enough in person, thank you for you know showing me around. We had a wicked, I don't know what we'd call her, tour guide or booking lady. She gave us all these nice bookings, lunches,
Yeah,
dinners, amazing.
was really really well
It was a
prepared.
special week. Yeah.
So thank you, sirs, for hosting me. I was gonna do the AMA on my own spaces. And by the way, Cryptofish, I'm gonna talk about also some stuff related to Trader Joe, because it's part of the bigger picture. I don't know if you realize that we, with Wonderland, we have started adding tens of millions of dollars of liquidity to the AVAC Magic Internet Money LP. Is part of what we're gonna do. So I think it was important, because today I got really a little bit mad, because I started seeing all this Silicon Valley fucking crap going on, about saying that like emissions are like losses, and that revenue doesn't exist, and they're because their tokens are better because they make no money. So this was really interesting to me, because usually in Silicon Valley, the burn rate actually is positive as long as the revenue is generated and growth is part of the equation. So it was really interesting to me to see how the narratives just get flipped how they want it, as long as it pumps their own bags and just FUD people. And I don't like when people play with others people money. As everybody know, I like really a frog guy, and the people maxi, as I want to call myself. And I don't like when people lose money, when people get fudded and they believe that shit is happening, that people is dumping on them, that this is a farm coin and this kind of shit. This gets me really 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 angry. And I wanted to do this AMA because, first of all, I wanted to speak a little bit about what is going on with Abracadabra, and why in the last week I've been slowing a little bit till I started pumping things again. And what is going on with the mission of Magic Internet Money, and what is the plan for actually building even more liquidity and scale Magic Internet Money across multiple blockchains, specifically Avalanche, BSC, Phantom, and Ethereum. So I think this is going to be a um, very interesting part of all the vision. I don't think everybody has everything very clear as I have it in my mind, but I'm very clear in what I do. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that I'm not just wake up and fuck around. And as much as I joke and I say like that I do the replenish while I take a dump, is not true. Like, I work 18 hours a day and I care about making shit perfect. And everything that we do, the farms, how much emissions are given to each individual market, how much spell is specifically used in deals or in liquidity mining or in the curve pool or the bribes, is not just randomness. Like, there is no other project that has been made 3 billion of stablecoin emissions in a month apart of us. There is no other project that is consistently making $2.5 million in revenues per week like us. And when I start seeing like that we get treated like we are the last of the people coming into cryptocurrency, and all our holders are treated like they're garbage and idiots, this makes me completely mad. And I want to make sure that you know what you are invested in. Because if you don't like what I'm going to say today, if you don't like how is the plan to completely dominate the stablecoin market and really take over all the other stablecoins that exist, a part of USD that is very, very important for the plan that I will explain, then it's better that you just dump your coins and you don't follow just trends and you go buy something else, because this is a serious project. It's not a pump and dump scheme or a meme coin, as much as I like to list them for fun because it's called Magic Internet Money and Spell, but it has nothing to do in terms of real growth and potential of this project to really be included in that.
So Daniele, I was actually just made fun of on Twitter because I keep calling you, Danielle. But I had to remind everyone, I'm just a hick from Southern USA, and you guys are just going to have to bear with me sometimes on that. I'm going to frequently butcher names of not just people, but protocols and other things as well. I don't know what kind of format you want to go with, Danny, but we are going to. We are going to moderate it, make sure it goes smooth. Did you just want a bit of time to kind of talk about Abra and what's going on, and we can invite people up when you're ready?
Yeah. So my idea was that I would like to explain what is going to happen in the next 2 months or so, and what we are working on, and what is going to be released, and what is the strategy that they have in mind with the team for growth. Till the end of the year, and then I will allow people to come on and make their questions relevant to the strategy or relevant to anything that is Abracadabra. As you guys know, I'm always very open to answer any type of question. Just one thing, please, let's focus on Abracadabra today. I'm gonna make another AMA for Popsicle in the next few days. So this is just exclusively talking about Abracadabra, Magic Internet Money, and Spell. Okay.
Fair enough.
Well, you have the floor, man. Take it away. Whatever you want to talk about it. And when you're ready to enter the AMA portion, let us know, and we'll start adding speakers up here.
So first of all, I wanted to let everybody know, and I want to take a little bit of statistics here. So Magic Internet Money is the first CDP-based stablecoin that has consistently maintained the peg without having a PSM. This is something that people thought it would not be possible because DAI didn't make it. We have proven constantly into doing soft and not soft liquidations that efficiency for our protocol has been exceptional in all market conditions. We have liquidated, and even Curve has shown over, even in one hit, $40+ million, hundreds of millions of dollars of stuff, and it worked like smooth as fuck, and the peg has been maintained super well. We are the number one coin in liquidity across all 4 chains. I want to just start a little bit saying what is going on, because sometimes people forget. Then this is a major achievement, because that I didn't want to bend the knee by just adding a PSM like MakerDAO, in which what is a PSM? I will just wanted to explain. The PSM is basically a smart contract that allows you to swap always one-to-one a decentralized stablecoin with a non-decentralized stablecoin, so like USDC or USDT or Paxos or BUSD or whatever, Gemini USD or whatever you want. So one of the reasons why I don't want to do this has been always that DAI is pretty much minted exclusively with USDC at this point, and in the last like 2 to 3 weeks they have been doing it. So, and you can even check out Banteng Twitter feed, in which he explains how to loop something called the gelato, the gelato basically LP position, in which they've been using and transforming the PSM into an LP position, claiming that they not have so much USDC minted, DAI minted with USDC, when in reality they have much more than what it was before, and they're minting like crazy because it's very, very profitable for the VCs to just pump the circulation supply of USDC before going to do their own IPO, because at the end of the day, this is the usual type of stuff that they do. They want to pump their valuation. They want to go to the stock market. They want to dump their fucking shitty stock that doesn't generate any revenue to the consumers, and they want to exit, because this is the VC game. The VC game is not that support you, want to live with you for many years and hug each other and be your partners into your company. They want to buy your shares because they're profit maxi, and they want to dump them as soon as they can get the best price possible and the best return. So what is going on here is that Magic Internet Money didn't need the PSM so far, and is very big. Like right now, we are talking about the 3.1 plus billion circulation, which is standing. 30% of that is leveraged tree pool and other type of stable coins farming, which is an incredible type of instrument for revenue generation, and all the rest, the 70% is different collaterals. You should check out our new dashboard, abracadabra.money. There is a lot of interesting stuff. We are adding more because, for example, the wheel on the backing is like the cake or the pie on the backing of Magic Internet Money is not really there. We have like a cake that shows the type of the TVL differences, but I want to improve it. But it's real time, it's very good, and it shows really what is going on. There is a liquidation page, and no other project has this level of transparency like we do. Like, everything is on chain, yes, but it's not easy to aggregate all the data. It took us a month to make this dashboard, and we will keep improving to maintain this 100% level of transparency from both founder, team, and whatever is going on in our project is always transparent. And I don't want that anybody has anything to say that we are shady or we don't do things in terms of not being transparent. So this was very important, and I really recommend you to go to dashboard abracadabra.money and check out by yourself if things are going good or not. The distributions, the revenues, the liquidations, the positions at risk, everything is just there, which is very interesting. This is very important because it's the first step for decision making. Like when we're talking about decentralization, just making decentralization for the sake of being decentralized is useless. You need to allow, build, and give the tools to the people to make informed decisions about the protocol. And this is part of the tools that we are building towards the full decentralization of Abracadabra. You cannot make informed decisions of what is the future of the protocol, of how many Magic Internet Money should be topped up in certain markets, or what would be the interest rates, or where you should do the emissions, etc., if you don't have at hand data that is accurate, that is valuable, and drives your decision towards, of course, an opinionated decision, but still backed by data and real things that are happening at the moment. So this said, I'm very happy that we finally built in the last few days the triple V2 on Avalanche. It was long due, and there is a lot of liquidity on Avalanche, to the point in which, because of time and other things, Magic Internet Money has been the number one traded coin on Trader Joe in terms of stable for many days. Then we are the number one traded coin on all Arbitrum. This is creating its own adoption, because people notice the liquidity, notice the number of wallets that hold the stable coin. And I feel like it's very inaccurate when people say that Magic Internet Money is just leverage. Is bullshit. Like, leverage was just the first use case that it had to be given to Magic Internet Money to create the issuance base for then expanding into additional use cases. So it was very important. It is very important. It's part of our revenue generation. It's part of the uniqueness of the protocol. And for that reason, I'm very happy to announce that in the next few days, part of the the part of the interface that allows you to loop has been changed. So it will be pushed. Here I can see there is a part of our team that now is scared that I say this, but it's going to come in the next days. And the difference is that I think that was very unclear for even experts in DeFi to understand what would be the liquidation level or the amount of leverage that you could use in certain specific cauldrons or borrowing markets. So how we changed it is that you can either decide what is the maximum drawdown or the maximum percentage that you're willing to, the risk that you're willing to take. So for example, on Trade Crypto, I'm willing to take a maximum of a 20% downside on my position before being liquidated. I feel comfortable. And then there is going to be a slider selection in which it allows you to leverage the maximum loops possible to maintain that position at that specific liquidation price. Then you can also choose directly the liquidation price that you want of that asset. So it makes everything very, very clear and easy for the user to gain the maximum exposure to leverage within the parameters that are important for the user, that is the liquidation price. So this, I think, is a major upgrade. It will allow more and more to really fine-tune conditions and use Abracadabra as it's supposed to be, and not just experiment with leverage. It can be very precise and big. I think this is going to be one of the major drivers of usability and growth in the next weeks, because everybody that was trying to use Abracadabra now can use it for any market that we have. Second very important thing is that we have been working very closely. I've met the Terra team, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Lisbon. And we have worked hard with also the Anchor team and everybody to make sure that the USD strategy is there. It's working well. We have been testing it a lot. We have been adding slowly. There is a few modifications that we have done, and the Terra bridge cost will be lifted. So the shuttle bridge, so we can do faster claims for the revenues generated by the USD looping. Then we have found more and more partners that are going to add liquidity to the pool, meme USD, and we align by the fact that the future of two-pool and the future of stable swaps should be Magic Internet Money, CDP-based, and USD algo-based. Together, we have a different directionality in the same type of events, which is very valuable, in my opinion, on the longer term to maintain the peg in between each other. Magic Internet Money is very strong on the upside. So it depegs on the upside, so it goes more than $1 in these more larger liquidation events, or downside of the market. On the other end, USD tends to depeg on the downside in the same events when they're paired on a two-pool, which is very efficient on multiple chains, including Avalanche. We're coming on Avalanche together also. Then this shows very good strength, and it should allow to balance out the peg in between each other, so it's very beneficial as a collaboration, a part of allowing for looping and create this very in-demand leveraged stable farming that we want to push, generating millions of dollars of revenue for our protocol. So I expect to do more than 1 billion first in a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks probably, 100 million a day, something like that. 100 million every 2 days. And as liquidity is added, as our partners become bigger, the bigger the pool becomes, the stronger the peg becomes for both, and the highest liquidity on chain becomes the Magic Internet Money. And we loop, and in all this, everybody wins. So this is the second biggest thing, in my opinion, of what is going to be the revenue driver in the next weeks. and longer term, it can be scaled to very large numbers. Then, third, very important is the design for the cross-chain swaps using Magic Internet Money. I think that, and this connects very well with the farming rewards. So as things become clear that we reached a certain maximum liquidity that we can get through the side chains or like Avalanche, Phantom, Arbitrum, we are going to scale more the native pairs on native decks like Trader Joe. So we're going to start moving to double rewards on our partners' exchanges, and that will really improve the liquidity for pairs like AVAX Magic Internet Money, Phantom Magic Internet Money, Ether Magic Internet Money, on-chain Popsicle, PLP, B3, Ethereum Magic Internet Money. We want to offer the lowest slippage on any trade with the native asset, so we can allow really to create this cross-chain swap across. And the value proposition here is not just that we do the double incentives, so we help the DEXs to have more depth, but we create a seamless user experience, almost like a 1 inch, but that is cross-chain, utilizing our partner exchanges, bringing more volume and allowing for cross-chain swaps. For example, Phantom to Avalanche, Avalanche to Phantom, Avalanche to Ethereum in a seamless way, wallet to the same wallet. This is really big because it would allow you to, just for example, you are on Ethereum, you forgot to top up some Avalanche or whatever, you can just send 1 ETH and you're going to get the AVAX on the other side, and ensuring that the slippage is the best also ensures the best execution. So we really we really push this kind of cross-chain activity to a larger extent. So we really become the cross-chain stablecoin, even without people realizing, because it's utilized as a backend, right? So you can imagine it as multiple pools that earn yield on Magic Internet Money. Anybody can deposit on these pools, and for each trade there is a small fee that goes to Magic Internet Money depositors. And the rebalance happens through any swap bridge that has no fees, and we always maintain liquidity over multiple chains, and it's going to lock and give utility to Magic Internet Money. So now what it will allow is, like, for example, buying from Ethereum directly Joe token, which is sick, which is how it should be. And then we will allow also for multiple type of transaction, like I want to buy Joe, but at the same transaction I want to buy also a little bit of Avalanche for my new wallet, which this is how the experience should be. And this connects very well also for the mission of Popsicle, right, of moving around LPs and so on, and really start to shape what is the vision and why all these tools have been built. They have been built for total domination, not for just a farm coin, how they say, like just a pump and dump farm coin, right? But this kind of stuff is going to come, and it's going to come not like in a fucking year. It's going to come now. And this is what excites me, because we really have the opportunity right now to create the deepest liquidity across all layer ones and layer twos. And the time is really now. And there is nobody else that is even remotely trying to do what we are trying to do. So I'm really confident that the execution level of our team has been very high, and the ideas are not lacking. And I'm really confident this is going to be huge for everyone, especially for the cross-chain type of user experience. That is what we really aim for. And as we scale the markets across all these different chains, we don't have to pick a winner. Is Avalanche going to win? Great. Is Solana going to win? Great. Is nobody going to win? Doesn't matter. We're going to be everywhere. So we really have no bias, right? Like, whoever is going to be the best, the market will tell. We're going to be there. We're going to capture the value. We're going to capture the trading volume. We're going to help the exchanges on those to have leverage. And by adding, for example, the Avalanche meme LP to this equation as at 0p, pretty much at 0p borrowing for the LP, we create the fucking deepest liquidity ever seen, because the leverage farming is just insane. And then try to beat that. We are the central bank, right? So beat the central bank. So fuck the suits. Oh, sorry, but today I'm a little bit in this mood.
That's my favorite mood is King Frog, Daniele, going off on the suits, getting angry, being aggressive. Do you think you're ready to go into the AMA, or do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, as usual, we're going to take more of a moderation role here. We're just hosting Daniele's APA, or not APA. Well, I don't know where that came from, but AMA. We're gonna start adding speakers up here. Random task is gonna call on you. When you're called on, you can ask a question. After Danny answers your question, we'll either just kind of remove you if it's natural, or if you do have time to respond, just say, hey, thanks, Danny, I appreciate your answer. Whatever. Remember, you are being recorded. Your identity isn't going to be online or whatever, but your voice is. So if you don't want to be recorded, don't ask to speak. That's just kind of part of this. We got to make sure all the frogs have access to this, and can tune in later if they're at work or asleep right now or whatever, and hear what Danny has to say. Big spell guy myself, holding, staking, accumulating more spell. So I'm very interested in this as well. But I'm going to go ahead and start adding speakers, and when RT calls you up to speak, that's when you can answer your question. Otherwise, please stay muted to be respectful of everyone's time. Thanks a bunch.
Excellent. I appreciate you getting up here, man. There's a lot of builders and just project people, whoever you work with, traders especially, and down days and all that, they just kind of want to check out, take the day off.
Hello.
No, fuck that. We're doing an AMA. Let's go. Quiet the herd.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Exilo, you, I guess, are the first one I'm going to call on. Come on down. Everybody else on mute. Let's do this. That's a go. Excellent.
So it's my turn?
Okay. Oh,
I can hear you.
Excello, you're trolling me, bro. All right, one of you can ask a question. I'm going to pick
I think
Excello.
we're just here
Everybody
as
else on
speakers, but
time for your question. Okay,
That's a great question, sir. That's the best question.
Coming in
of the
hot.
night.
All right.
Thank you so much for your presence. It has been so helpful for the whole community to have you here. Bye.
I can't hear you. That is, I'm going to assume the question you had, but we'll try again in a little bit. I'm going to be.
Can I ask a question now?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was wondering, what are the plans when it comes to BSC and Solana in integrating those?
Okay, so we are working already with the RAM bridge together with AnySwap. Squirrel has been really helpful in this, and we have put together the two teams. So we still maintain the same seamless experience of cross-chain bridging and free bridging for Magic Internet Money. But we utilize a different bridge for that, but it's still the same token. So it's still working very well with AnySwap. So you will be able to go, for example, from Avalanche to Solana, from Solana to Avalanche, from Arbitrum, and so on. They are working also on Terra, Luna, and Cosmos. So we choose them as a partner for the non-EVM, but still maintaining this collaboration with AnySwap altogether. Basically, we're building this infrastructure specifically for Magic Internet Money. The volume is in the tens of millions every day. People not realize, but Magic Internet Money is flying everywhere. Like it's literally the number one low-cost company, Jet Airlines or whatever, of all chains.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The plan is fairly simple. We are gonna rewrite everything. We have this new Rust team has been onboarded. We are playing with it. We are rewriting everything that is possible, and we're gonna deploy it on Solana, and we're gonna make it.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Sounds good.
All right, Chloe Ping, you're up.
Thank you.
Oh, BSC, I forgot. I wanted to respond to the BSC question. I think we are going online tomorrow. First with Cake and BNB. So how it's going to work is that we will have the DGen box strategy for Cake. So you can use Cake as collateral, but still earn the Cake staking. And the same, we are looking into what is the best strategy for the BNB. Then we're going to do all the leverage farming for all the Cake pairs that are worth with looping. And the main pair is going to be BUSD MEM. So as a tuple. So that's it for now.
Excellent, thank you. And I think we've still got Chloe here. Yeah, go ahead, Chloe.
Hey, thank you. Hey, everybody, thank you. Thank you for organizing this. Daniela, I actually went to Lisbon. I wanted to meet you, but I was at Luna's event. You know what? After the event, I got COVID, so I'm suffering at home with COVID. Anyway, it was worth it. My question is that I'm curious if you're gonna increase the meme supply. I'm farming with meme on Yarn through Phantom. However, every time the pool with the meme was full, so you have to wait. And even if I saw the message on Twitter that it's reopened, if you're not fast enough, you always miss out. So I'm wondering what's your strategy for the next step? Thank you.
Yeah, so for certain pools, we kind of look at the demand. There has been a lot of Magic Internet money for a while into the Yearn Vault FTM. Now that you tell me this, Romy, if you are listening, actually, are you listening? Yeah. Romy, add a reminder for the top up of the Yearn Vault FTM. I think we can top it up in maybe today or tomorrow. Okay.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, a little alpha drop for anyone who hasn't already. There's a MIM replenishes account on Twitter. And if you put notifications on for that, the only thing it does is tell you when certain pools are replenished. That's been a godsend for me because you're right. There's hot demand, Chloe, and they fill up fast. Aaron Ash, you're up.
Hey, thank you. So first off, amazing product. The vision of where this is going with cross-chain and everything looks really solid. I sold a little bit of Bitcoin the other day, and I was, looking forward to getting into this UST pool. And was just happened to be online when you did the MIM replenish, and I, went full crazy on it. I did the 90% with the 10x loops to get this incredible 100% APR. And I checked it a couple of days later, and I noticed that the amount of locked collateral had not changed. And I was expecting that maybe...
Yes, weekly.
Yes.
Yeah, I will explain. So because we need to bridge back from Terra, we do it like on a weekly basis. That's why.
Okay, and you mentioned there might be faster claims of that in the future, or should we expect it to be weekly going forward?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly why we are working on the free fee. Because if I bridge, even if we have revenue, but then I bridge, it looks like that it's negative, but it's not negative because there is the fee of the bridge. You understand? Mm-hmm. So we're putting the fee as at 0 with Terra because of course it's helping Terra Luna, right? We lock a lot of stuff. So then I want it faster, and that's the reason why we are working on this, and it's a top priority. It's number one revenue generator for us, in my opinion. It's so good. I want to ape too, so
awesome.
Like I have their money waiting, and I need to borrow 100 million USD. So we are all in line waiting. So you're very lucky that you got into it. To be honest,
Awesome.
like pretty.
Sounds great. Do you know how often you expect that bridge to happen in the future? Like 24 hours?
Yeah, we're targeting 72 hours.
Okay, sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You really lucky. How did you get the USD pool? I didn't
Yeah, I was just sitting around. I just happened to be online when it happened. And then, I actually already had deposited the UST into the cauldron, which I think is a cool feature that you can advertise, and it will get more, value locked on these cauldrons. And so anyone out there who's listening, if you want in the UST pool, you can go ahead and deposit now. And then when it becomes available, it's just a little bit less work in order to go through all of the steps to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Like they just deposit first the collateral that they need. Anyway, it's going to be on their wallet anyway, and there is no fee to deposit it, right? So, but when you deposit it, actually, what happens is that it becomes AUSD even if. So if you want to deposit the USD now, you still will get the AUSD, 80% of it. So it's still going to the degen box. So it's still getting the strategy.
Awesome. While I had you here, if you don't mind, I noticed that my YV USDC pool has not moved at all, and I bought it even before the UST. Do you know what the time frame is on the collateral deposited amount updating on that pool?
I think that's a problem of Yearn, because the YV USDC is actually, it doesn't augment in number of tokens like USD would do. It's just augmenting value. So please, if you can DM me, I will take a look.
I see. Awesome.
But it should be worth more than when you deposited.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
All right, we are going to go ahead with Eduardo.
Hey, ciao, Daniele. Hope you're doing well, man. So my question here, I had an issue today with a 3 Crypto 2 pool. So I had this money there, but I don't really know if I got liquidated or not. So the health was like in 20% and suddenly went to minus 3%. And then I just went to 100% after. Did I get liquidated? How do I see this?
Yeah, so you should... can you DM Georgie? Georgie, you here? We will look in El Patron if we liquidated.
Okay, cool. Georgie, how do you spell that?
George, DM me here on Twitter.
I'll do
Okay.
That. Cheers, bud.
Okay. So thank you.
Right, local cryptogod.eth. You're up next.
But this, before we close this, by the way, this is why we're updating the UI, because so it's way more precise to set up your liquidation prices, etc. You can really tinker that, and tomorrow is going to be available. So it's very cool.
Beautiful. Local cryptogod.eth.
Hey Daniele. So I seen you retweeted the other earlier today that 1.8 million of fees were distributed to stake spell holders. Could you explain where those fees come from and how that comes about? Yeah,
so you can imagine that people pay, right? Interest and borrowing fees and so on, and partial liquidation fees. We accrue those from the protocol. And then over a weekly basis, we can claim them from the cauldrons. We take them and we transform them into spell. We market by the spell and we send them to the spell contract to be distributed to everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And Luis. Just Luis. Yeah. Gelato. Come on in.
That's me. Hi guys, Luis here from Gelato. Actually, we also deployed to Avalanche recently. Super excited to join the ecosystem. Seeing that MIM has done a lot of great things there. Actually, I bought some spell on Trader Joe a while back. Probably the first trade I did there. Really cool stuff. Daniele, I was wondering, could you talk a bit about the philosophy and the process for onboarding new collateral types? And what are the plans for 2022 here? Do you want to expand the collateral types a lot, or is that not really a goal?
Yeah, so first of all, we do have collaterals that are not interest bearing, if you have seen that. But in general, the process for adding new collateral is by using snapshot and request the collateral addition. Now we are creating a forum in which people can write, and the process is going to be a little bit more clear. Right now we are doing like the most basic collaterals that have chain link feeds, apart of like hype one or interesting ones that the community have requested heavily. But the process is going to be like, there is Wicked here that is in charge of all the next steps that are coming for the decentralized autonomous organization and the organization of the people and the requests. So this is something that we are working on. For now, it's through Snapshot, but I think it should be first on a forum and then on Snapshot, so it's much easier to onboard the new collateral. For example, the Gelato USDT, USDC could be very interesting collateral. That's,
it's actually USDC DAI, the GUNI pool. For this, Maker built a special oracle actually to support this collateral on Maker. Do you have plans here to also allow for more quote unquote exotic type of collateral that do not have a chainlink oracle?
For example?
So, for example, the DAI USDC collateral that Gelato has on Maker doesn't have a chainlink oracle, right?
Yeah, so definitely. Like, for example, 3Crypto doesn't have an actual chainlink oracle, right? We created it with Curve. So definitely we are open to those. I'm definitely not gonna add USDC DAI. That is for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
just to make sure that everybody's clear about it. But what we could do is adding, for example, UST mem. Why not? Something like that. That could be interesting, and we could use even the, like, as I understand in Gelato, you set the tick as very specific tick range. Like, it never changed the tick range. Is that correct?
So for the USDC DAI, yes, but because I mean there it makes sense, right? There shouldn't be price fluctuation so much. We did start actually. I think Gelato was probably one of the first Uniswap v3 liquidity management solutions. Probably with Popsicle, one of the first ones. And we did start with the auto rebalancing, but we kind of switched it off because people just got wrecked. I think it requires some very advanced algorithms and maybe even models to do it right. And we measured, like, so far all of our analytics have shown that usually passive LPing is more profitable. But we are revisiting this now. So soon, actually, we launched a way to use our framework to launch these pools for any type. Like, you can do UST, whatever. Like, you can launch any pool with this UI, and soon, I mean, we have auto fee compounding, and soon we will also add the auto rebalancing around price ranges back in. But yes, you're right. At the moment, it's static ranges only, and they're managed.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because right now, you basically, because of you guys, Maker is printing like crazy, because they're just looping their own PSM into the Gelato, and they're going around saying that they have less USDC in the PSM, when in reality they're minting from the USDC DAI 100x leverage, and they keep adding allowance, and brrr, like, it's pretty insane. Because all the growth that has been is 95% just because of that, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, that's because of the PSM, I guess. So it's a custom thing. But anyways, yes, we are gonna add more interesting stuff, and for sure. Like, and I was looking into this, for doing something similar for meme.
Cool. Yeah, I'm out here in Zug, so if you're in Zug anytime, hit me up.
Yeah, sure. Let's meet. Apart of that, the 2022, I think that I'm sometimes like very pragmatic. So my idea is things need to be agile. I have a plan for how it should look like, but things change. But my idea is that the 2022 is going to be focused on expansion on known EVM chains and trend setting. So I would like to be the number one stablecoin on Solana, which I don't think is going to be hard. I think it's going to be pretty easy to do. And then I want to really get into the Cosmos ecosystem, which I think is on tech level is really great. I want to expand into Terra, which is our partners, and it's really strong in my opinion, and so on. Try to dominate all the EVM chains as they come up, and non-EVM chains as they get created. Probably I will close my nose and also deploy on Cardano if that will be the case, and so on. That's kind of
Nothing wrong with a little ADA. No, actually, there is quite a bit, apparently. Should we go to the next one here? We've got Mark Jeffrey.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers, Louise. Mark Jeffrey.
Hey, Danielle, how you doing, dude? Big fan and investor in your ecosystem. As I look out at what you're doing, in my mind, the biggest threat to all of it is regulatory. So, FATF, which is an international body, is pushing really hard for KYC on all DeFi protocols, so enforcement of the so-called travel rule. I know some people who work with them, and they seem pretty adamant about this one. I'm wondering, what are you hearing? What do you think about this? And what will Abracadabra do if this rule kicks in?
Well, my opinion is that I have between 4 to 6 months to fully decentralize the protocol. So then it's untouchable. If it's fully decentralized, nobody can enforce anything. Like then, if they want to come, I'm not a US person, and I do not have any intention to travel to the USA, even though everybody tells me it's a beautiful country. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to travel to the US, and I'm going to stay in places in which there is no extradition to the US. So I have an open fuck KYC, sir. Like, we're building this for the opposite reason. So I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid it. So.
Got it. Thank you.
I'm not scared, like, at all.
Crypto Italia.
Hi, good evening. Ciao ragazzi. I just want to ask to Daniele a technical question on MIM and what are the possibilities that mean the peg and which scenario it could happen, and eventually in case of bear market and as 2008 and with 80% fall and withdrawing of collateral and demand in issuance of MIM, what are the possibilities?
Well, in the bear market, it tends to go higher instead of lower because of the liquidations. And if you withdraw the collateral, you need to buy magic internet money, right? So in reality, it's just a self-sustaining kind of like system, right? Like, it's always collateralized. The only events that are risky are events in which we are not capable of liquidating positions, and we lose money on the collateral, right? Which can be accounted. So that's the only places in which we can actually, right?
From a structural point of view, what are the weak point of MIM, the pegging?
Well, I mean, if it pegs on the downside, like it pegs like to 1 or 2%, because the cauldron is designed to always calculate one meme at $1, it becomes profitable for people to buy meme and close their CDP positions.
Yeah.
So it helps maintaining the peg. This is one of the reasons why it has not depegged so far and has been so strong, the peg without the PSM. The highest risk is on the upside.
Yeah, on the upper side, I was going to ask.
Yeah, that's why I'm so focused on building liquidity with USD, because in the same type of events, so in heavy liquidation events in downside, very fast downside on market action, then USD tends to depeg on the downside and we tend to depeg on the upside. So we kind of like have this system that self-sustains and helps a lot. But yeah, that is mostly like, that is the biggest risk, that is the meme is higher than $1 and it becomes so much higher than $1 that basically it's not profitable to make a liquidation, right?
On how much you can quantify the up and downward side in
anything, nothing
event?
I don't think it's so big in a percentage. Like even if it's gonna lose 1 or 2%, like in the liquidations, the treasury can easily cover that. So I don't see it as a very big risk. But still, I take action to just avoid anything that can be bad for the protocol, right?
Sure. All right. Thank you very much, and the banks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Bumsy, you're up.
Hey, Daniele, missed a lot of your posting on Twitter these days with all your travels. But yeah, welcome back. And had a few questions. So first one was about the cross-chain swaps. I was wondering if that's going to be built into Abra or another one of your platforms. Was also wondering about your partnership with Andre on Keeper, if you can share anything about that in general. And when Solana meme coin? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we are going to share revenue on this product with Popsicle, because Popsicle is kind of the LP, so it makes sense, right? So it's going to be like an Abra Popsicle collaboration, so it's going to be the first time that we kind of share. On the side of the meme coin on Solana soon, trademark. So it's happening. We're working on it. It's fun. And I think it's a great idea for starting to build a community on Solana, for people to know us, for people to know Magic Internet Money, give use cases and fun. And you know, like a meme coin that you're sure that it's not going to rug, it's still pretty powerful, right? Like it's a fun thing and traders love it. And everybody knows that Solana is a trader heaven, right? So I think it's very good. What was the other question?
Yeah, so I was wondering about your partnership with Andre on Keeper.
So this is very cool. So actually it connects with the guy that was asking about gelato, right? So we are going to, what I would like is to be able to create more depth on the IB tokens, so the Forex tokens, and to doing so, we're going to add these markets to Abracadabra. So all the markets as PLPs. So the PLPs are going to manage the volatility and the range for those. So we make the slippage very, very, very clean. And then we're going to have those as collateral so people can leverage those. And we can create a very deep liquidity into those pools and create this the potential to create 100x kind of like leverage on Euro, Korean won, and Swiss francs and so on, which is very cool.
Did you just say 100x leverage?
Yeah, for sure. On Forex makes sense.
Yeah, Forex is crazy. You can get like 200, 300x on that because it's all like tenths of a penny, right? 100.
Yeah. Like on Forex, it makes sense. Like if you want a long euro, you want a long a lot of euros. Like you want to,
Yeah, no, I don't want to watch the euro go up half a cent when I'm like 10x leverage, it's not going to be very exciting.
Yeah, like it's still not so exciting, what to
Yeah.
like even if you are 50x, it's still not so
not.
Oh my god.
I made $10. All right, King Ego.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I'm learning more about Daniel's projects and seeing a lot about it, but after hearing what he has to say today, I heard him talking about the only real issues with this current project is a situation in which he couldn't liquidate, or a situation in which MIM goes above $1 at such a range in which liquidation is not profitable. My real question to him is, what is your method for liquidation? Can you explain that? Is it through an AMM? Because I know typically with like USDT or USDC, they can be frozen on chain. And if you have a situation in which you're trying to do liquidations all at once and everyone's collateralized, and then, as you're saying, loop collateralized on assets that are yield bearing, if you have enough of a crash, you would cause a lot of liquidations really fast. And I would be concerned if your anti-regulation status may make it kind of iffy for some of these people to maybe target your liquidations, if that makes sense. And I would just want to make sure you have a decentralized liquidation method.
Yeah, it's everything is on chain and posted, so anyone can in a decentralized fashion can liquidate any position. It's just that we run our own bots as for safety, because I cannot expect other people to do it for me, right? But anyone can do it to the extent that I have seen. Now we are not anymore doing 100% of the liquidation. We are doing like 50% of the liquidation at this point, because there is competition, because it starts to become profitable for others and people learn the protocol and so on. So they have built their own solutions for doing so. In the case, this is very interesting what you're raising about like frozen stable coins, and one of the reasons why I have decided not to do a PSM was exactly for this reason, because what happens if we rely so much on a PSM, but at the end of the day all the USDC require KYC and nobody can then swap against the PSM and not can get back to peg because we were relying too much on that. So I think that triple, and the reason why there is so much triple into our leverage strategies is because I think the triple becomes a sort of an IOU. So as a token, in case like USDC becomes locks, basically the through KYC, the withdrawal from Curve still is a tradable token. And in my belief, there is going to be a market like triple USDT or triple MIM that then is tradable as a triple token. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I respect it. I was just asking because I know a lot of different people in different protocols use different liquidation methods. And let's say if you just decided to use like Binance for your liquidations, for example, they would instantly be able to shut something down, for example. And I was just curious how you were running that, seeing as that's kind of your main weak point, if it could be a weak point. But it's not, because it's protocol hooked up to where that's not a concern.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same like Aave, to the extent that I was, just to make it even stronger, not just on chain, but also off chain. I have discussed this, and it's something that we have a deeper call with Alameda to just, to also do the liquidation off chain. Like still the liquidation on chain, but to offload certain larger type of positions also on the OTC.
Yeah, because my main concern is somebody who leveraged or took out a position on some collateral and used that to keep adding more collateral onto itself, kind of looping it, and then that having a flash liquidation and that, get frozen in liquidation, for example, with a bad system, like protocol.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was just curious about that. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think it's a very relevant question, and we are working also on off-chain solutions for liquidation, which I think is also important. like to do OTCs and stuff like that, and have some sort of treasury ourselves, like me and my friends and partners, etc., to just make sure that we can always pay any type of big, large position and liquidate it via OTC.
Okay, excellent. We've got Rev up next.
Daniele, ciao. Thank you for being here. That's my worst Italian accent. I'm stupid American. I wanted to know, we've got DeFi 2.0, we've got the curve wars, convex wars. You were talking today about emissions. What's the plan for MIM to have its own liquidity and not have to pay marketing for it? I know you guys reassess weekly, you do the farm reassessment weekly, but how is that going to change in the future?
Well, I think that with time, like, it's going to be such an important pool, just like DAI, that is going to have his own liquidity without need of incentivization. It's all about use cases, right? So it should be like a main kind of pair that gets incentivized always. And second, I think that we can create more depth into native pairs, which are more interesting, like Avalanche meme, Phantom meme, Ethereum meme, Sol meme, and so on. I think that is where we should focus now, because the incentives there are better. So it's not just the curve war. You know what I mean? Like, it's more than that, and we can extend that liquidity quite a lot, just like any other USDC, USDT type of coin. And to respond to the bribes and all the emissions, like, we really check those emissions. I think on a capital efficiency kind of situation, the bribes are still very good. So I don't think we should really buy any CVX or TRVs at the moment. So we have this cauldron design that we are working on that allows you to deposit CRVs and CVX, and you can borrow for free in exchange of having part of those that you deposited through DGenBox as a wrapper that votes for us. So that's a smart way, to kind of deep dive into the power that we have around and utilize smarter ways to gain voting power without needing to pay.
Excellent question. We have Spellcaster up next. Come on down.
Hi, Daniel. A big fan of you. Basically, my question to you is that I have been tracking what wallets are buying Spell and what are selling Spell. So right now, what I see is that you mentioned Mr. Almeida recently. His wallet has been incessantly buying Spell. It's like he's buying Spell worth 7 Ethereum every hour, and it's been going on for 12 hours since 3 days, and it will continue because he's getting more Ethereum. So how do we check? So our aim at the start, I still remember when it was listed on FTX, you basically stopped the process. You basically stopped Spell from tanking on FTX. That time you did it on a very medium scale, but now Spell is on a very larger scale. So now to check this VC income, to check how Spell proceeds, it will be very difficult, right? So how will you proceed in that regard?
So what you're saying is that Alameda is buying a lot of Spell?
Yeah, I'll DM you what he's doing. I'll DM you his wallet address and everything.
So how is that bad? I would like to understand.
Basically, take for example, today ODS was listed on Upbit. If you followed that development. So as soon as it pumped.
Yeah, I'm in contact almost on daily basis.
Okay, so as soon as it pumped.
They are our market.
Yeah, as soon as it pumped, Almeida, he sold every ODS he had. He sold roughly, you can say, 400,000 ODS in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but you need to think that Alameda has a bot that they use that is an FTX arbitrage bot. Yeah. Like even if they buy or sell, it's because as people is buying on FTX, there is an arbitrage, so they source the liquidity and they bring it to FTX to sell. I don't know if you understand that. Like what they do is not being directional. They just supply the liquidity in between the centralized and the decentralized exchanges on all. For us, they do all the exchanges. They do FTX, they do OKX, they do Binance, Coinbase, everything for us. So they really market make everything, right? And when there is like demand on one of these exchanges and there is not enough buy side or sell side, they're going to source it on chain and they're going to send it to the exchange. That is why they buy and sell constantly if you look at it. So their wallet is the DEX trader, like is a very specific type of behavior that they have, and they constantly do it for maintaining healthy, deep liquidity markets across all the exchanges that we have.
Thank you.
Clears out a little bit what's happening.
Excellent questioning there and good explanation. Help us understand the world of market making a little better. We've got Dr. Stonks up next. What do you got?
Hey, Danny. I'm just curious what dictates these MIM replenishes from happening. For example, what's the difference between, the last week where there's been a lot of replenishes to maybe a couple of weeks before where they were a little bit less replenishes? Is this something that is done manually on the back end with a multi-sig, or is this automated and completely trustless? And if not, how do we kind of get to where that system is doing everything itself?
Yeah, so right now we can't mint more than 10% of the supply of MIM. And this is by contract. So we can't just mint whatever we want. But right now the system is done by 11 people multi-sign, or 12 people multi-sign, I think 12, which is not controlled by the Abracadabra team. It's majority controlled by independents. Like there is Curve, Convex, Yearn, Sushi, and so on, like the biggest player in DeFi. How do we do it? Like the system was designed so that we can actually automate this through the votes. And we are working on the full decentralization. Of course, for the growth phase and everything was very problematic to do it, as you can imagine, because it needed not so many votes for moving certain markets or whatever. But now that we are in a more solid kind of growth phase with the solid market cap, this is, as I mentioned before, this is the top priority to completely decentralize this process.
Great, thank you.
All right, next up we've got Crypto Stash.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for having me. Danny, you're kind of a big deal. I'm just wondering if we can create some kind of spell DAO to supply you bodyguards. Have you considered what would happen without your presence in this ecosystem?
Yeah, so this is something that actually last time that I was in Lisbon, I had security. What happens? I mean, the team is great and everybody is pretty great. So I'm not very concerned. I just would be, well, I wouldn't know if it's sad or not, if people is happy. But yeah, I have considered this. That's why the multi-sign, I don't have anything that it can be locked without me, right? And access to the private keys have a very specific, yeah, it's pretty, I plan on this kind of things. You never know. It's not just about the security. Anything can happen, unfortunately, and it's what it is. It's crypto, right? But the system would go very well also without me.
Okay, Larry Hahn, I see a hand up. What do you got?
Hey, Danny. I'm really in awe of how much stuff you've built so quickly. I have a couple of questions. One is about the cross-chain swaps with AnySwap. So, like, I've done a couple before, and it seems like AnySwap can just mint tokens on like the other chains. I'm just curious if, like, and I don't actually understand exactly how they do it. Like, I see just that, like, for example, if I bridge MIM, it shows up on the other chain, and like AnySwap sends from a 0 address. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about like if there's any risk there? Like, for example, like can like the AnySwap node operators collude and like just mint a lot of MIM? I don't know. I'm not trying to spread FUD. I'm just a bit curious about that.
Yeah. So AnySwap is built on top of Fusion. Fusion was one of the first blockchains that Andrew has built under Kronia. And originally it was intended not as a standalone blockchain. Then the Fusion team decided to kind of make it as a standalone. But then Zhao and other guys left and just took the project to the original kind of focus. So yes, the token is minted and burned, but no, the operators cannot collude to just mint what they want. It's not possible, even though would be, you would think it is. It's not. Like there is no way in which they not can even burn. Like the router v3, in the router v2, the one that we had ICE from the beginning, that was the first token to be traded cross chain. Yes, allowed that. The v3 no. So that's why we rely on it. It's completely trustless.
Okay. And then I have a separate question about like just like getting into DeFi. So I'm a developer by background with like, 10 years of finance, HFT, like just like TradFi experience. And, I've been kind of watching DeFi grow and get better. And like, I kind of want to like make the transition. Do you have any like advice on like what to look at, what projects to work on? Like, what do you think is missing like in this space, or like, what should be worked on?
So I think right now, for example, like I've heard a lot of things about like lacking of Rust developers. I don't think it's actually very true. Like it's just, there is a lot of Rust developers out there. It's just that they're not very focused on blockchain. About DeFi in general, do you want to more focused on DeFi, right? Like that's your thing?
Yeah, I just see like this as like taking over everything over the next, yeah.
I think options is the thing that is really missing. Like there is not many developers that understands both options, how they actually work, and coding. So that is something that could be very interesting to see, especially on layer 2s and things like that. Like that would be really, I would focus on that. Like I don't have time to do anything else, if not, I would have done it myself. But that's really, like if you look at the retail base and you look at what is the most traded on, for example, Robinhood, you will see that options is by far the most traded, and then crypto. Imagine when you combine both, then things become really, really, really interesting. And I would really love to see like a protocol that allows you to really do options on a decentralized way that is cheap and fast and works well, just like Robinhood, Like normies can use options. If not, it wouldn't be traded so much, right? Like it just needs an interface, decentralized interface, just like Uniswap, and that is gonna be way bigger than any like Uniswap trading or whatever trading that you see on chain. Like I think option is the ultimate, like really killer.
Hero Network on Solana. Let's go. Q4, hopefully.
Who?
Hero Network is building on Solana. That's the one I'm most excited to see with on-chain options coming up.
Yeah. Then congratulations. Well, I mean, I hope that Solana is good enough, because like many people underestimate the amount of data that you actually like sync on options. Like if you look at Deribit, their infrastructure is insane. Like the amount of fucking stuff that you need to update on options is crazy.
Yeah.
Like even on centralized kind of exchange is really intense.
Well, they've built their own
So-
AMMs specifically for this. It's a long time coming. So I mean, I'm not in the dev department obviously with Hero, but I do the YouTube. But that would explain some of the delays. It's a very unique first time type protocol. So we're going to see. The jury is out, but I'm excited to see what they do when they launch. TevinMercy.1, what do you got?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for letting me get to speak and ask a question. Daniele, I just wanted to ask, I know that you said that you had plans to, bring Abracadabra, MIM, Spell to Solana, Binance, and, other chains as well. Do you see Abracadabra coming to even smaller chains or chains that maybe don't have the same recognition? Like I mentioned, like they said, smaller chains, will they be able to have the same resources that Abracadabra can give? Because I really do like the what the protocol brings, and I think that the use case could be incredible if it was even on smaller chains like just like Harmony.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna say Harmony. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't see why not. It's just that the native collateral will be a little bit tricky to take, right? Like as long as on Harmony there is like Ether or there is Bitcoin, wrapped Bitcoin or things like that, it would make sense, right? But for example, we deployed on Mover, like Moonriver. And I would argue that it's the same size or even smaller than Harmony. So I don't see why not. Yes. My answer is yes. We're going to deploy everywhere. Where we can make money, we're going to do it if the security is there. Yes. Like it's more of an assessment of security than anything else, right?
Great. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Oh, Zulian, you're up next.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for hearing that, Daniele. I was a little curious to hear about your plans on listing on exchanges and if there's any future in MIM being a major trading pair. I know that a lot of speculation on like stablecoins, and I personally hate USDT and USDC. So is MIM going to be a major trading pair, or are you going to leave that for the Terra and keep MIM DeFi? Thanks.
Yeah, I am. I'm working on it. Like the issue here is that I can't say which exchanges, right? Because they have these policies that blah blah blah. You can't alpha, you can't say, baby, But yeah, I'm doing it. Even though like the focus will stay more on centralized exchanges, I've thought something like I had this thought in my head, right? What if I had a contract with a market maker in which I pay them a certain amount to spell, right? That is like a 10% or a 15% APY, like a year, but they can't sell it because it's vested, like in next year, but it's guaranteed, and they can get the upside, right? But then they build a certain amount of liquidity on centralized exchanges rather than decentralized one, right? This is something I've been thinking about because, I mean, why not? Like, how dope would it be that the market maker itself, that could be like 3 Arrows or Jump or Alameda or someone, they are the ones that are seeking the APY, right? And they do it with some sort of smart contract risk on Curve. What is the cost of having no smart contract risk, but instead having just the centralized exchange risk? And how much lower would that cost to me in terms of incentives? And how much more we would gain out of that liquidity being on centralized exchanges, exactly as an onboarding and offboarding with US dollars. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's right now a bit of a risk with the existing stablecoins, especially with talk on freezing assets and stuff. And I think MIM and UST with Terra are one of the solutions to keeping DeFi decentralized and accessible to everyone. So I'm hoping that these can be pairs that are accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I think the centralized exchanges is still dominant, so it's very important to think about how to penetrate that market. And my idea was, how far can I take like the incentivization that instead of being on-chain is off-chain, and it has certain rules on it that allow us to build very deep liquidity and a quoted always 1-1 kind of situation, but to centralized exchanges, right? So pretty interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daniel.
I wanted to tell you, sorry, RT.
No, go ahead.
We just keep the ones that are already speakers, and so we don't add any more speakers, because if not, we are going to do 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning.
For sure, yeah. No, I think we've got the hosts here. We've got some dinner stuff coming up soon, so no problem there. Dare I ask Top Signal to come up here and speak?
Hey guys, how's it going? First of all, hey, thank you for doing this. Thank you for all your time. Appreciate it. The entire ecosystem that you guys have built between Abracadabra and Wonderland and everything is really impressive, super inspiring. I have just a really simple question. Your Abracadabra interest-bearing collateral through Yearn is super cool. But as you guys are a multi-chain protocol, do you have any plans to incorporate DEFI finance and their interest-bearing yield tokens, the Mu tokens, as collateral?
Yeah, definitely. But the only thing is just the security assessment, and we have been really, really loaded. So work. And as we expand the team, we will be able to do more of this kind of collateral types. But yes, why not? I think they're pretty cool, especially on BSC. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we've got Rebase God. You're up next.
Hey, RT, Messi, Danny, you guys are kings. Thank you so much for doing this. Also, shout out to DeFi God and Parallel Finance and Hermione and Ben in the audience. You guys are also kings. Danny, I kind of wanted to actually just hear your personal opinion pertaining to sort of like the voting and bribe ecosystem that's kind of sprung up. My mind kind of races towards like, what if Abra was decentralized and offered, in the way that like offering different cauldrons based on voting, in a sort of more like direct to the user interface way, like what that would unlock in terms of, bribing for the stake spell. But yeah, just like really interested in your personal opinion as to, bribing liquidity and how that's sprung up recently.
Yeah. So we have been the first to talk with Andre about it, and we have been the first to do it, right? I think that in the case of Spell, I think it's very dangerous, and it's one of those things that we are looking into to avoid, because we don't want like a coin to just create a cauldron that just have unlimited amount of MIM and then we get wrecked. It's like a risk for governance. So I think this is going to be a no-go for Abracadabra directly. But right now, bribing is very efficient for us, and we are going to actually start bribing even more, in my opinion, because we are wasting emissions. We should bribe more. It's way more efficient than just dumping the 6% on $2 billion of $2.5 billion of liquidity. I'd rather add 1 or 2% more, and I think the CRVs that they're getting from the pool are more than enough. If we add a couple of percentage points, it's so big that liquidity is not going to just get pulled off. It's very good, even without Spell, and we can transition the Spell to bribe more VCRVs. specifically and more convex. So we just dominate the bribing. And as we dominate the bribing, the others have less capacity to go in and buy the CVX. That's how I see it, because they would have less firepower. So we just, as much as we keep, as much as it goes 1-to-1, so the amount of liquidity that we gain or the CRVs that we get are equal to the amount of spell that we give, then everything is pretty good. Anything that is lower is great. So I think we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to just pretty much just dominate that kind of market, because everybody has been copying us on doing things. Have you seen all our strategies? And I think that they're going to keep doing it. And as I mentioned before, I'm moving past this CRV wars. I want to just end it and do the liquidity that we want and move towards building liquidity and bribe market makers rather than individuals, also to get us liquidity on centralized exchanges and do emissions on native assets, which makes our system less reliant on one single point of failure and more useful for the atomic swaps and deeper liquidity, and allows people to build also on top of magic internet money, giving it way more utility than just swapping towards another coin. What you want is that the ecosystem, for example, on Avalanche can rely exclusively on magic internet money, because the deepest liquidity and the lowest slippage for trading Avalanche is on MIM, so it's standard routing, right? And that is the kind of things that we need to look forward to. We need to really go deep into strategically deploy our rewards as long as they last, right? To build up the confidence and the normal use, day-to-day use, for then just turn them off in the future and just have such a network effect that it's not required anymore.
That rocks, man. It's good to hear. What do you think of all the voting bribing going on with Tokamak now? And do you see a future of voting for NICE with liquidity direction on Popsicle or any other liquidity direction platforms? And I'll take my answer off.
Yeah. So NICE is it's different. For Popsicle, is more interesting probably because it could be more interesting on bribing. I will just spend a bit of a parenthesis on Token Mac. A lot of people just saying Token Mac. For so far, what I see is that it's basically a glorified lending plus Bancor sort of situation going on there. Alpha Mora, Bancor child, where on Alpha Mora, when you leverage, what happens is that you take the risk. On Token Mac, the token holders take the risk, which is pretty weird. And I don't know if it's a good system or not. I think that is not has been experimented for a long time enough to think to use it, right? I will let it play. If it works, then I'm sure jumping in. I don't see where exactly we would fit in that system, but how I see it is that we have unlimited potential for leverage on native pairs like Avalanche MIM, BNB MIM, Phantom MIM, because we take them as LPs and we just print. And that creates such a fucking deep liquidity and allows people to make even more money. That is just fantastic, So it's just an effect of just being very strategic in what you really want to achieve. And right now we are, in my opinion, past the 3 billion of issuance. We are in the phase of not just growth, but really setting in stone the ownership of certain layers, like layer 2, like you saw with all the incentives that we have given on Arbitrum. We own Arbitrum. There is nobody else on Arbitrum. Nobody even trades or even tries to trade with USDT or USDC or DAI. DAI doesn't even exist. Like they were supposed to deploy, they didn't because it's gone. Avalanche, just allow me a couple of weeks and nobody's going to trade USDC anymore because we're going to build so much depth into those pools on Trader Joe that it just doesn't make any sense. And it's not so big, the gap. Like we're talking about 50, 60, 70 million worth of liquidity between Avalanche and MIM. If we just give an allowance of 100 million that you can loop on Joe, they're going to make more money in looping from our own. Like it's all about like it's just right there to be grabbed. It's just that execution time. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. Just I'm trying to do it all. It's just sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. But I'm here fighting, sirs. Like we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it all. We're gonna have the fucking deepest liquidity on all chains, and then tell me what's the best stablecoin, right?
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thanks for the questions. OX Flosion, you're up next.
Hey, buonasera Daniele. First of all, thank you and your team's work against the suits, fuck Wall Street and Silicon Valley. In your last presence on the Frog Radio show, you mentioned you are a Bitcoin maximalist. Is your ultimate goal to bring DeFi to Bitcoin?
Yes.
Maybe you are familiar with stacks as a layer 2 on Bitcoin, or maybe you and your team could create your own layer 2 on Bitcoin. The question is, when Abracadabra on Bitcoin?
Definitely the ultimate goal is Bitcoin. No way that I'm gonna let it slip away. Like now, Taproot activation, amazing. Like RGB project of Zuko, other guys, and interesting. Like I let it play a little bit. I think in the next couple of months we will know which direction to go, and then full steam. Magic internet money on Bitcoin. Come on, it's made to exist.
Can't disagree.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, and keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Casper's mom with Phantom in the banner. Welcome.
Well, if it isn't the Tony Soprano of crypto himself, how you doing, Daniele?
Tired, but good as fuck.
Well, that's what I was about to ask you, but I kind of had to change up my question here because you actually answered my question moving to Mover Chain. I just found out about Mover and starting to go over there. And I think what you're doing with all the cross-chain stuff is absolutely insane, man. I mean, you're absolutely killing it, you and the team. But I kind of want to ask you, I know that you obviously get like 4 hours of sleep a freaking day, man. There's no way. It's crazy what you're doing. What's your opinion on being able to work and collaborate with other projects, and like how big is your team? I haven't done enough research on all that because I got a day job, kind of a pleb by day, trying to get crypto rich but real life poor, if you know what I'm saying. But how much time do you have to collaborate with other projects, and what's your opinion on collaborating with other projects? Because I know you're kind of like the 9,000-pound gorilla in the cage right now, especially with own forks.
So I'm very open to collaborate with anyone, and as long as we are aligned into what is the ultimate goal, and they're decentralized and they don't really compete.
Right.
About like the team size, I think that we are a little bit above 15 people now. We are adding more, so we added now 5, so we're gonna be like 20 now, and expanding across all products. Time, Abracadabra, and Popsicle. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. It's like 2 hours that I'm talking.
Yeah, for sure. No worries, man. And hey, look, I really appreciate your time. You got a lot of people behind you. I get literally all my friends are Frog Nation, so we're out here supporting you. And thanks for what you're doing, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate hearing your support. It's what keeps me here.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Casper. And then there were two left. We're coming into the finish here, Danny. Kingsy, you're up next, and then we got one more.
Hi, so thanks Frog Radio and Daniele for taking my question. Daniele, you recently talked about Abracadabra having leveraged Forex trading by integrating Andre Crony's Keeper Forex IB currencies along with MIM trading pairs. So given Forex is the largest financial market in the world, I think this is super cool and just like very, very ambitious. Do you have any plans to kind of expand this cooperation with Andre and Fix Forex? Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you more. Yeah. Anyway, yes. I think in the future you will see me and Andre working more closely. Let's say this.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Like Andre, in my opinion, Andre is one of the most like nice and true people around that I have ever met. And is so passionate about everything that he does, and such a very, very, very beautiful person. And I think that we are destined in a way or another to we are very different. That's why we kind of very compatible.
I totally agree.
So if we need to move everything towards the next, if the war is intensifying, you can tell by the fact that Curve, for example, I find it very undervalued because the VCs and everybody didn't get their allocation there. We are getting smashed recently by FUD and all this kind of stuff for the same reason. And Andre is the same, all his projects have been just, fair lunch and everything. But the Frog Nation is powerful. Every day, do you realize that there is 120,000 time holders? That's insane. There is 50,000+ spell holders. There is 50,000 ice holders. This is hundreds of thousands of people. When we add also the other things that Andre has, and we start building a Frog Nation ecosystem, it's gonna be fun. And they can't compete when we get to 1 million holders. They can't. It's just the revolution, the revolution starts a few people. Then more, and the squares are filled, and the stadiums are filled, and then the government fall down.
Yeah, I've been following the memo holders closely this week. It blew up 86,000, just cracked 100,000 this morning. It's
more than 100,000.
Yeah, explosive. Thanks for your question. We've got one last question today. That's Drigatonio. You are up last but not least. What do you got?
Good evening, Danny. Firstly, it's an honor and thank you to the Frog Radio team for organizing this AMA. Daniele, I will be in a room in front of several high net worth acquaintances very soon who currently have no exposure in crypto or DeFi, and they've been quite impressed as to what I've done as an investor in Abra. How would you explain Magic Internet Money and Abra to them, and why are they important to the entire DeFi space?
Well, how I would explain it is that the current borrowing and lending or credit system, it doesn't work with peer-to-peer. It's not peer-to-peer. So everything, hypothecs, loans, car leasing, credit cards, it's all work because of banks and central banks, right? So the banks are the intermediary that then give the central bank money to the consumers or to the businesses. Abracadabra disintermediate the bank. Is directly the first that is the central bank that directly gives money to the consumer or the business. So this is the revolution that you want. This is the central bank of crypto.
Decentral bank. Very good question to wrap it up. A nice little cap on what has been an outstanding couple of hours here. Thank you for your time today, Danny, and I really appreciate the opportunity to host it here with you. Perhaps we'll let Messi come in and kind of cap us off today.
Hey,
Oh, God.
hey.
There he is.
Guys, amazing audience. Thank you so much for your attention. We have been streaming now for 2 hours and 40 minutes, approximately. Danny, thanks for your time. Hopefully you'll allow Frog Radio to host your Popsicle AMA in the next couple of days or whatever you decide to do it. Love to host it, moderate it, record it, and take that burden off of your shoulders at least. To everybody listening, to Frog Nation out there, thank you so much for being here. You guys keep your eyes peeled. We will be posting these recordings live to YouTube first. That should probably come in the next few hours, maybe later tonight. We will also be posting to Spotify. I think we're still working on our iTunes and things like that. Other things do take a little bit longer to set up, but keep your eyes posted. We'll post that to our Twitter. We'll make sure to tag Danny and everybody, get it retweeted out so you manage to see it. Also, we've had some members of the community taking notes on this episode. We are extremely appreciative of that. If you have taken notes or if you've done a thread on anything, and this is with Trader Joe or Danny, please tag us, and we're happy to give you a retweet. We're extremely appreciative of you doing that. Not everybody likes the auditory format, so that visual format is very helpful, especially for somebody like me who's too ADD to listen to a podcast or something like that. If that's you, I've been reading these notes, and they're fantastic. We've tried to retweet everyone who's done a good job. But guys, Frog Nation, thank you so much for being here. Danny, thank you so much for being here. Until next time, we'll see y'all later. Adios.
All right, take care, everybody.
Ciao.